Come in. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Tommy?
Sit down, James.
Have I got something for you?
What's up?
You remember Danny Kanoa?
Oh, yeah, very well.
All right. Well, it seems as if Private First Class Daniel Kanoa got into a pushing and shoving contest with Captain Manning.
Oh.
It turned out that he bit Captain Manning's hand.
Well, you know what Agnew just said about that.
What's that?
It's time to crush the mouth that bites the hand that feeds it. Cheers.
How juvenile. Hey, not to change the subject or anything, but how do you feel about violent crimes?
You mean as a person or as an attorney?
Attorneys are people, too.
Yeah, you sound like a bumper sticker.
No, I meant the question seriously.
Are you setting me up for another joke?
Listen, I don't have to set you up. You're too easy.
Oh, well, I'll remember that the next time we step into court together.
All right. Well, the time is at hand. You're gonna love this.
What is it?
It's a rape. You ever handled a rape before?
It's my first one. When you were defense counsel, did you get many of these?
I've handled about 5, maybe 6. Well, anyway, the accused is out in the hallway. He's asked to see you. I told him you were a commie liberal faggot, but he wouldn't hear it.
Well, I appreciate it if you avoided my clients.
Oh, I do, like the plague.
Thanks, James.
Okay, Tom.
Sergeant Phillips. I was just handed your case and told you would ask for me.
Yes, sir. I asked a few of the guys on base about the defense counsel here, and rumor has it you have a string of acquittals.
Yeah, I have 6. But that has nothing to do with this case. Have you spoken to the CID or the MPs?
No, sir, I haven't. I asked to speak with an attorney.
Very good. How long have you been in so far?
Mind if I smoke, sir?
No, go ahead.
This is my 3rd term, finishing it up. 10 years.
Where to next?
I'm short. I'm not going anywhere near that re-up NCO's office.
So how long until you get out?
Next Monday, sir. And that's kind of why I'd like to get this thing, this little misunderstanding, cleared up, so I can get back onto my own time and not Army's.
Misunderstanding?
Yes, sir. Now, I'm convinced that this whole thing is the result of wild imagination of some half-cocked dependent and my CO, Captain Atwood.
Elaborate, please.
Well, sir, it's like this. Now, I'm assuming that you're on my side, so I can tell you this. My first hitch included an 18-month tour in Vietnam doing my duty. Now, Atwood, punk-ass Second Louis, was the XO for our unit. Now, he was fresh out of ROTC, and I've been there 10 months, and he started ordering me to do this and ordering me to do that. Now, I couldn't take it, so I told him to fuck off, and he pressed charges. I didn't think they'd stick, but it's that Article 15 in my record that kept me from getting my promotion to Sergeant First Class, I'm sure of it. Now, anyway, I get orders to go to Fort Ord, and I'm tickled pink. I'm thinking California, sunshine, ocean. But I get assigned to Headquarters Company, 3rd Battalion. CO is now Captain Atwood. Well, it just kind of turned me sour on the whole ball of wax, if you know what I mean.
I want to know what all this has to do with the charges brought against you.
Sir?
The charge of rape?
It wasn't rape at all, sir. I never even touched her.
You never touched her?
Yes, sir, that's affirmative. I went out on a social evening with a fellow NCO in my unit and his old lady, some stuck-up bitch. Excuse my language, sir. Anyway, we went out for some drinks and I went back to Alan's place, and I fell out on his couch. Got up in the morning. I didn't make any disturbance. I just left quietly.
Why do you think she's out to get you?
Another sob story, sir. It's obvious to me that Alan and his old lady just aren't making it. It's clear to me that he ain't giving it to her. Now, I think that evening she kind of got a thing for me, and she blew it out of proportion. Alan, he don't know what's going on. Can't believe his old lady, but he has not got reason one not to believe me, sir.
You're friends?
Well, we're not friends, you know. We're in the same company. I never screwed him over.
So you say you never touched her?
No, sir, not a finger.
Do you have any witnesses who can testify that you were at a certain place at a certain time?
Yes, sir. I have 3 people I believe you could call them in here on my defense. Now, she's saying I was hitting on her at a certain time, and I'm saying I was long gone.
How'd you get from the Allen apartment to Fort Ord?
I took a taxi, sir.
About what time?
0800. I was to the snack bar by 8:30.
So you took a taxi to the snack bar?
Yeah, and then I went to buy the company and stopped by the laundry. Then I picked up my car and I went to the old New Orleans restaurant. It's the best gumbo this side of the Mississippi. Are you familiar with it, sir?
No.
You ought to check it out.
Well, that's all for now. Before you leave, speak with my assistant specialist, Winston. Give him the names of the people who saw you at the places you said you were at on that morning.
Yes, sir.
I'll be calling in witnesses today, and if I need you, I'll call you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I just want to get this thing cleared up, get back to Pittsburgh. I'm glad one man believes me.
Call the witnesses Sergeant Phillips just gave you. Have them come tomorrow morning. I'll spend a day trying to talk with the witnesses of the prosecution.
Okay, what time do you want to see the alibi witnesses tomorrow?
9. Come in.
Is the accused gone?
Yes.
Well, the victim's over in my
The
office.
alleged victim?
She's in my office. She's naturally upset. What time would you like to speak to her?
I'll speak with her now since she's here.
Okay, well, her husband's sitting down in the hallway in case you want to speak to him.
All right, I'd like to speak with her first.
Fine.
That'll do it, Alex. Please sit down. I'm Captain Thomas Peters. I'll be defending the accused in this case. I'd like to go over your account of the circumstances in the alleged incident on 3 November. But first I have a few background questions. Are you comfortable?
Yes.
Please state your full name.
Susan Ann Allen.
I understand from your statement to the military police that you've been married to Sergeant Roger Allen, Headquarters Company, 3rd Battalion, 7th Infantry.
That's correct.
How long have you been married?
4.5 years.
Under what circumstances had you known Sergeant Phillips prior to the incident in question?
I met him last summer. He's in Roger's company. They were on the company softball team together. I met him a couple of times after the game.
Oh, are they friends, Sergeant Phillips and your
I
husband?
wouldn't say they were friends, more like acquaintances. Roger doesn't know him very well.
On the morning of the alleged incident, Tell me what happened.
He used force and raped me.
The maximum penalty for Article 120 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice is death. It's my job to defend the accused. Please explain to me how Sergeant Phillips came to be in your apartment on Saturday morning.
He passed out the night before on our sofa.
Where was your husband during the alleged incident?
He leaves our apartment at 7:30 in order to be at the barracks at 8 o'clock for the formation lineup.
And he left Sergeant Phillips alone in the house with you? Oh, doesn't that seem curious to you?
I'm still trying to understand how that happened. Roger said something about him being on the sofa when he left in the morning, but I was half asleep. Next thing I remember, I see him standing. Dan Phillips, in the doorway, naked.
And then what happened?
I was shocked. I thought he had to use the bathroom, and I said, "The bathroom's over there." And he said he didn't have to use the bathroom.
Was that all you said?
I was scared. I didn't know what to say. He came closer and said he didn't get anything from my friend and that he wasn't used to not getting any. I pulled the sheets up around me and asked him to leave.
What were your exact words?
I said, "Please leave."
Please leave. Did he threaten you in any way? Any weapons?
He was threatening me by being in my bedroom against my will.
Did you have any cuts or bruises?
I have some bruises on my wrists.
I'm trying to do my job. Now, this is not personal.
Everything you are asking me is very personal.
One of the elements of rape is the issue of penetration.
I'm still sore, if that answers your question.
Well, I think that will be all for now, Miss Allen. I'd like to speak with your husband next, please. Hello, I'm Captain Thomas Peters.
Yes, I know who you are.
Very well. You're Sergeant Roger Allen, Headquarters Company, 3rd Battalion, 7th Infantry.
Yes, sir.
What's your position at Headquarters Company?
Mail clerk.
Is that your MOS?
No, sir. Actually, it's 31 Echo. Field radio repairer. But there's a senior NCO in that position right now.
How do you know Sergeant Daniel Phillips?
He's a platoon sergeant in my company.
How do you get along with him?
Before all this, I thought he was a pretty good guy.
And now?
How can I believe anything he's got to say?
And your wife? Can you believe what she has to say?
I don't know why she'd lie about it. But I don't want to believe it.
You thought Phillips was a pretty good guy.
That's right.
Has he ever lied to you?
Not that I'm aware of.
And your wife?
Sir?
Has your wife ever lied to you?
I don't know.
How would you describe your marriage prior to this incident?
Prior to this incident, well, it's been tense for some time now.
Tense how?
I guess it's me. Shit, I don't know what's going on. And ever since she started working with Christine...
Christine Osborne?
Yeah, that's right. Well, they're always doing something. I don't know what's going on. For all I know, they're out picking up guys. I mean, this Christine is real eligible.
Sounds like they're pretty close friends.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, for the evening of 2 November,
Well, I was leaving the company, and I mentioned that Susan was going to be working late, so Wilson...
Wilson?
Yeah, Staff Sergeant James Wilson. Well, he suggested we go bowling. I said, what the hell?
Had you ever socialized with Wilson or Phillips before this?
Not really. Well, we were on the softball team together last summer, and after the games there'd be a little drinking.
Please continue.
Well, we bowled a few games, we drank a little beer. I was having a pretty good time.
Do you have any friends in headquarters company?
Not really.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Please go on.
Well, anyway, we ended up at my house. That's when Susan called and said she was going to go out for a drink with Christine after they finished up the inventory. So I suggested that we meet her and Christine there. You know, Susan didn't like that idea very much, but she agreed. Well, Phillips had gotten a ride to my house from Wilson, and he had to. Well, Wilson had to call his ex-wife or something, so he couldn't go along.
So you, Sergeant Phillips, met your wife and Christine?
Yeah, that's right.
How did Sergeant Phillips end up at your house that evening?
Well, we were playing cards and he passed out.
No, I mean, whose idea was it to go there?
Oh, it was Dan's idea.
All right, go on, please.
Well, anyway, he passed out. So I threw a blanket over him. And in the morning, he was still out cold. So I figured I'd just let him sleep. And I told Susan that he was still there on the
How
couch.
did she respond to this?
Well, I don't think she was really awake.
What did she say?
She said, "That's nice."
When did you next see her?
I got a call from Christine saying to meet her and Susan at the MP station, so I did.
About what time was this?
Well, I'd already been to the Central Mail pickup. By the time I got back, it was about 09:30.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Allen.
That's it?
Yes, thank you, that'll be all. Come in. Prosecution witnesses number 1 and 2.
As expected, I can see the defense angle now. Provocation and consent.
You're in for a surprise. My boy says he didn't do it.
Don't they all?
Chalk up another one for the unjustly persecuted masses.
Oh, cut the shit. You know he did it. What, you think Susan Allen seduced Phillips?
Must be in your mind, too. Otherwise, you wouldn't have mentioned it.
Oh, come on, that's so cliché. Your Honor, she said no, but she really meant yes.
If my boy says he didn't do it,
Then you believe it. Give me a break. What, you think I'm a babe in the woods? You want to win.
damn right.
And if in the course of your investigation you find out he did it, the paradoxes of justice. Well, there's a cute young thing sitting in my
Let
office.
me guess. Christine Osborne? I'm Captain Thomas Peters. I'm defending Sergeant Dan Phillips. I'd like to ask you a few questions regarding the alleged incident on 3 November.
Alleged?
Where were you the evening of 2 November at 10 o'clock?
Susan Allen and I were closing my boutique in Carmel.
Where did you go from there?
Susan had agreed to meet her husband and a friend of his for a drink at a place called the Driftwood.
Had you met Roger Allen before this evening?
Yes, several times. Never for very long. He's very quiet around me.
Well, why is that so?
I don't know exactly.
Do you suppose he's resentful of your relationship with his wife?
Maybe. I can't understand why.
Well, do you and she spend much time together away from the workplace?
I'd like to know what this has to do with Susan being raped.
I am attempting to define the nature of your relationship with Mrs. Allen.
We are very good friends.
We're good enough friends to lie for one another?
I resent that question.
Let's try one more time. Had you met Sergeant Dan Phillips before this evening?
No.
How would you describe his demeanor on the evening of 2 November?
I've never been treated so rudely in my life.
Could you elaborate, please?
He became disgustingly drunk, obnoxiously forward, and generally an asshole. Is that sufficient?
Why did you remain with Phillips and the Allens?
I was protective of Susan. Phillips had all the usual come-ons. You got beautiful hair, and I love your eyes, made me want to throw up. Susan and I thought we'd dance, thought it would lighten things up, but Roger asked me to dance with him.
Why would he have done that?
I don't know. It was almost as if he was trying to keep me away from Susan.
Or push Phillips closer to her?
You're considering every angle, aren't you? Roger loves Susan. Why would he want to push someone like Dan Phillips closer to her?
Would you consider Phillips unattractive?
That is an understatement. Underneath a very ordinary exterior exists a creep. I don't find that attractive.
Back to dancing with Roger. Did Susan speak with you when you returned to the table?
Yes, she did. She asked me not to leave her alone with Phillips again.
Why did you say that? Did she explain?
Yes, she said that he had been putting his hand on her knee, kept moving closer to her.
And you took this to be the truth?
After fighting the guy off all evening, yes, I believe Susan.
When did you leave the group?
Well, I just couldn't take any more of him. There was talk of giving Phillips a ride back to the base. At least that's what I assumed. Since I didn't exactly want to kiss the guy goodnight, I told Susan I was going home.
When did you next see Susan?
The next morning she called.
About what time?
About 8:30.
Go on, please. What did she say?
Well, she was crying. I couldn't understand what she was saying, but I told her I'd be right over. When I got there, the door was partially open, so I went in. She was sobbing, all curled up on the bed. I couldn't get her to stop crying long enough for her to tell me what had happened.
Did you touch her?
Yes. I held her as she cried. Finally, she told me that Dan Phillips raped her.
In those words?
What difference do the words make? You should have seen her. He raped her, for God's sake. How can you stand in the same room with that man, let alone defend him?
I think that will be all for now, Miss Osborne. Your name and occupation, please?
Margaret McFarland. I'm a waitress at the Driftwood Inn, Carmel.
Do you know Sergeant Daniel Phillips?
No, I don't.
Do you know a Susan Allen or Christine Osborne?
Oh, yes, I do. They come into the restaurant occasionally for lunch or for a drink after work.
Were they there on 2 November, last Friday?
Let's see, that was the last night I worked. Yes, they came in the evening. They met Susan's husband and a friend. The other guy wasn't someone I really expected to see Christine with.
How's that?
Well, he was rather loud, abrasive, fancied himself a ladies' man.
What were they drinking?
Oh, I couldn't remember. I have a lot of customers every night.
Do you remember what was said? The tone of the conversation?
Wait, I do remember. I remember the guy was drinking martinis. You know, extra dry, just dip in the ice cubes, that kind of thing. What a pain.
And the others?
Well, as I recall, Susan never drinks anything other than wine. Christine has a sweet tooth. Banana daiquiris, I think. Susan's husband is a real regular beer drinker.
Can you recall how many drinks each had?
Well, it seems I made a lot of trips to their table.
Over how long of a period?
Oh, maybe an hour and a half. Could have been 2, I don't really remember. I do know the guy with Christine was really putting him away. He had 2 for everybody else's 1.
Thank you, Ms. McFarland.
You're welcome.
Your name and occupation, please?
Angie Kelly. I'm a waitress at the snack bar.
Civilian employee?
I'm dependent wife. My husband works in the personnel office.
Do you know Sergeant Daniel Phillips?
Yes.
About how long have you known him?
Oh, about as long as I've worked in the snack bar.
And how long has that been?
A year and about 2 months.
How would you describe your relationship with Dan Phillips?
Relationship?
Well, are you friends, acquaintances? Is he just a customer? Do you see him outside of the workplace?
Oh, no, I'm married. I see him maybe a couple times a week.
Did you see him on Saturday, November 3rd?
Was that last Saturday? And yes, I saw him in the morning.
About what time?
8:30.
How can you be so sure about this?
I remember looking at my watch when he came in.
What did he have to say?
Oh, just the usual things, complaints about his CO.
Have you seen him since?
No, I haven't.
In the best interest of his defense, since you are an alibi witness, please do not discuss this testimony with anyone else besides myself and the counsel for prosecution. Is that understood?
Yes, sir. Will I have to be in court?
I'll be calling you as a witness on behalf of Sergeant Phillips. That'll be all, thanks.
Thank you.
Staff Sergeant James Wilson, Unit Supply Sergeant, Headquarters Company, 3rd Battalion, 7th Infantry.
Do you know Sergeant Dan Phillips?
Yes, sir, very well. He's the platoon leader in our company. Fine soldier, excellent military bearing, good example of the other men.
Take it you're friends.
Yes, sir, and I don't hesitate to say so. He's the closest friend I have in the Army. He's generally an all-round good guy. Charms the ladies, too.
Have you seen him with many ladies?
Well, no, sir, not actually, but I hear about it later.
Okay. Specifically, did you see Sergeant Phillips last Saturday, 3 November?
3 November. Sir, yes, sir. He stopped by the supply room to see me for a few minutes in the morning.
Approximately what time?
09:30.
What did you talk about?
Well, let's see. We had gone bowling the night before. We talked about that. That was his best series ever. He had a 523 for a 3-game series. You know, it's kind of a fathead, sir.
Bowling?
Yes, sir. 523.
You and Sergeant Phillips?
And Sergeant Allen.
That's right, Sergeant Allen mentioned that.
Yes, sir.
You usually bowl together?
Well, Dan and I bowl occasionally. Sergeant Allen's never been with us.
Whose idea was it to bring him along?
Dan. Well, you know, Allen had been kind of bitching about his old lady, you know, wondering, you know, who...
Continue, please.
Well, he said that he had wondered who she was screwing.
In those words?
Well, if not those exact words, sir, real close. Anyway, Phillips had mentioned that we should all go bowling, you know, kind of have a few brews, get shit-faced.
Continue, please.
Well, so we all went over to the post bowling alley. Had a few beers, and after we'd finished bowling, Alan mentioned that we should go over to his house and have a few drinks, so we said, okay. After we got there, later, after a few beers, Alan started almost crying. He was kind of talking about how he hadn't gotten any in a really long time.
What did you and Phillips say to that?
Well, what could we say? So when Alan's old lady called, Dan mentioned that we should go out with her and her boss for a few drinks.
Was that Sergeant Phillips' idea?
Yes, sir. Yes, he was trying to help Alan out.
And you?
Well, I told him I had to go over to the BUQ, call my ex-wife, so I left those guys.
And the next time you saw Sergeant Phillips was around 09:30 at the supply room?
Yes, sir.
Would you be willing to testify to this in court?
Absolutely.
By the way, was there anyone else working in the supply room?
Ramirez, PFC Ramirez.
Dismiss Sergeant Wilson.
Bobby Roberta Nichols. I work at the cleaners by the PX.
Do you know Sergeant Daniel Phillips?
Yes, I do.
How would you describe your relationship with him?
I think he's charming. He comes in once or twice a week with his laundry.
Has he ever asked you out?
I wish.
Then it's safe to say that you like him.
If that's the way you want to say it. I think he's a fox. Nicer than those other guys that just dump their uniforms on the counter and then rant and rave while you try to check them in.
Did you see Sergeant Phillips last Saturday, the 3rd of November?
Yes, it was about 8:45. He picked up his stuff and said he was going to get his last haircut. He's a short timer.
Yeah, I know.
What are all these questions for?
Sergeant Phillips is charged with rape. I'm representing him in this case.
Rape? I can't believe that. I don't believe that.
I will probably be calling you as a witness for the defense.
In court?
Does that affect your testimony? Are there any changes you'd like to make to the answers you just gave?
I can't believe this. I couldn't testify in court. Not over this. Not now.
Request disclosure of the prosecution witnesses. Phillips said he ate at the old New Orleans. Go there, see if you can get hold of the manager or the owner or the waitresses. There's a new fellow working at headquarters company supply room. Get hold of him.
What's his name?
Ramirez, private first class.
Anyone else?
Contact Coast Taxi. See if they have a log of phone requests. Any log should indicate time and place anyone was picked up or dropped off. If Phillips is tied in with it at all, I want the cabbie in here. I want to know if Phillips is lying before I send in the witnesses to perjure themselves. Got it? Come in.
May I come in?
That'll be all, Alex. Thanks.
I noticed a lot of new faces out in the hallway. Still working on Phillips?
Speaking of Phillips, you don't have any new witnesses on him, do you?
I got enough to hang him. He's got slime all over him.
Ah, come on. He's spotless.
You call being disrespectful to a superior commissioned officer spotless?
That was years ago.
It's like yesterday to the jury.
Besides, it was Captain Atwood.
So what?
Vendetta.
You're off your fucking head. Look, you want me to call up every girl within 50 miles and conduct a Gallup poll? Has Sergeant Daniel Phillips put the make on you?
Give me a break.
I'm not giving you an inch.
Oh, you're still pissed off about last week.
You gotta be shitting me. Look, your time has come. No more acquittals. You know what happens to a good defense counsel, don't you? He gets promoted to trial counsel. Think about that.
Ms. McKenna, I understand you're the proprietor of the old New Orleans restaurant?
Yes, that's correct.
I've never been there, but I love food. What kind of food do you serve?
Oh, we serve all kinds of Creole dishes and just plain good old Southern cooking.
Well, I'll have to check it out. Well, I didn't call you in here to check out your menu. I'm defending Sergeant Dan Phillips in a rape case. Do you know this fellow?
No. I know a Martin Phillips, but I don't believe I know a Dan Phillips.
Very well. Among your customers, on Saturday, November 3rd, did you see
Oh, we were closed.
Pardon me?
We were closed.
Why is that?
It's a family tradition. We're closed on birthdays, and last Saturday, November 3rd, is my husband's birthday, so we were closed.
I guess it's pointless to ask you if you're sure of this.
I'm certain of when my husband's birthday is. It was last Saturday, and the restaurant was closed.
Have you spoken with anyone regarding this case?
Only the young man who called
My
me
assistant
last-
specialist, Winston?
Yes.
That's all I needed to know, thank you.
Walter Johnson, cabbie with Coast Taxi, Monterey.
Do you know a Sergeant Daniel Phillips?
No, sir, I don't believe I do.
Were you working on Saturday, November 3rd of this year?
Yes, sir. That's my first day shift in 3 weeks. They had me start at 8:30 a.m. And I was sitting around the dispatch office with Corky. He's our day dispatcher. When I got my first fare.
When I had my assistant call the cab company, I asked if there were any pickups near the vicinity of 4th and Jackson Seaside with a destination of Fort Ord. I've called you in as a driver of this passenger. Did you have an opportunity to check your logbooks regarding this?
Yes, sir, I did. Is that okay?
Yes, that's better for our purposes. What time did you receive the call?
It's in the log as 8:43.
That was the time the call was received?
Yes, sir.
About how long did it take for you to get there?
Had to be under 5 minutes. I mean, there's not many cops out at 9 o'clock.
Okay. Would you describe the passenger for me?
Let's see. Mid-30s. He seemed to be in a big hurry, kind of lost, and a little irritable.
How do you mean?
I mean irritable. Well, you know, I made my usual small talk. Asked him if he had any money bet on the World Series. And he goes, I don't follow sports. So I said, okay, I'd try my Army rap. Where's your hometown, all that shit. He sat there quiet as a stone.
Did he seem nervous to you?
Yeah, well, or real shy.
What was his destination?
Fort Ord, sir, snack bar.
And about what time did you drop him off?
If it wasn't 9 o'clock straight up, it was really close to it.
All right, have you spoken with anyone regarding this case?
No, sir, this is the first I heard of it.
That'll be all, Mr. Johnson, thank you.
Do we get some sort of compensation for this?
Well, if you're called to testify in court, it's $20 a day.
$20? Now, you'd think with the defense budget being what it is, you could afford a few bucks for a tax-paying citizen.
That'll be all, Mr. Johnson, thank you.
Private First Class Ramirez reporting, sir.
Yes, have a seat, please.
Yes, sir.
I'm defending Sergeant Dan Phillips in a case involving rape.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I heard, sir.
Do you know Sergeant Dan Phillips?
Yes, I do, sir.
How long?
Couple months ever since I got here.
Do you know a Sergeant Wilson?
Oh, yeah, I know Wilson.
I called you in here regarding a conversation that took place between Phillips and Wilson on Saturday, 3 November. Do you recall this conversation?
I saw Phillips Saturday.
About what time was he there?
It was after lunch.
Are you sure of this?
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind about that.
How long did Phillips stay in the supply room?
Look, sir, I don't know. They went out into the hall, so it's hard to...
Can you recall any of their conversation?
Look, sir, I don't like repeating what I heard. What I heard was just snatches of a conversation, you know.
For example?
They were talking about hitting on some lady.
Were those their exact words?
Putting the bitch in her place is what they said, sir.
Who said that?
Phillips.
Pardon?
Phillips, sir.
Were there any names mentioned?
Not that I heard.
What else did you hear?
What else did I hear?
PFC Ramirez, this needn't be like pulling teeth. Just tell me what you heard.
They were laughing and carrying on a conversation, sir. Phillips said, "It's her word against mine." Then Wilson said, "Look, you're short. They'll never prove it." That's all they said. Like I said, I don't like repeating what I heard.
Have you told this to anyone else?
No, sir.
All right, that'll be all for now. You're dismissed.
Look, sir, I'm no snitch.
I'm certainly not accusing you of that. Dismissed.
Yes, sir.
Alex? Call Sergeant Phillips in here, please.
Well, how's it going, sir?
Sergeant Phillips?
Yes, sir.
Let's go over your testimony one more time.
Just like I told you before, sir?
No. Not like you told me before. How about the truth this time?
Sir?
You can cut the act. I'm here to give you the best possible defense. You know, I gave you the benefit of the doubt. I believed you when you came in here.
Well, you haven't any reason not to believe me, sir.
All right, let me put it another way. I've spoken with the witnesses for the prosecution. They're scared, a little flaky, but they have no reason to lie. I've spoken with your witnesses. A couple of plain women who've been caught up by your charms, a fellow NCO, and to top it off, I called in a few witnesses of my own. I wanted to find out the truth before I started sending in your witnesses before a grand jury where they would commit the felony of perjury.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
What'd you have for lunch at the Old New Orleans on 3 November?
Shrimp gumbo. Best this side of Mississippi.
Not on 3 November.
Sir?
I spoke with the owner.
Well, it was real busy. You know, he wouldn't remember me.
Oh, that's right. They were so busy they didn't even open up the restaurant. She swears they were closed.
She's mistaken.
Now, why would she have reason to lie? She doesn't give a shit about you. Neither does the cabbie who swore he picked you up at 8:43 after you raped Susan Allen.
Sir, if you're convinced I did this, I figure I should be looking for another lawyer.
I'm convinced you did it. You know, you might get lucky. If the trial counsel hasn't thought of calling up the cabbie, you just might skate by.
I never touched her.
And you're not used to not getting any.
That's right.
I won't call your friends to the witness stand to lie for you, but I will do my best to see that you get a fair sentence.
Hey, fuck that. I want out of here. Who do I talk to about getting another lawyer?
Talk to the judge in court.
In accordance with procedural guidelines regarding disclosure of government witnesses to the accused, you are the first to know that I have found the corroborating witness that will pickle Phillips' pecker.
Is that so?
Walter Johnson, Coast Cab of Monterey.
What's he have to do with anything?
He picked Phillips up at the Allens and brought him to Fort Ord. The time coincides with Susan Allen's testimony of Phillips' departure.
Well, congratulations. I wish I had thought of it.
Well, you're just not ready yet. So let's go have a beer. Come on.
I'll buy.
No, you buy it. I worked hard on this case.
It's about time.